preaching the word, bring them in. But in the church, we're supposed to teach. And we're supposed to, help people get edified in the body. And I think a lot of times this part right here just completely goes away. That's why I'm so blessed. Here, when I hear these pastors teach, it's just absolutely amazing. And so, sanctify, use the Greek word, to make holy, consecrate, to be set aside, to make holy. And glorify is valuing him for who he really is. For example, giving or ascribing glory to God. But personally acknowledges God and his true character. Okay? And here's the amazing thing though. The irony is the glory and honor you bring God for eternity, all this time, eternity, and I'll adjust this in a second, is dependent on how you live your short life on this earth. James talks about life being a vapor, right? And life is but a vapor, but yet everything we do in this life determines how we glorify God in heaven. And that's the reason why I think it's so critical that we watch the way we live. So I got saved at about 24 years. Was I 23 or 24, babe? I think you got saved way before me, but I got saved I think at 23 or 4. And so I was born in, now you guys are going to find out how old I really am, right?
Right before California became a state, wasn't it?
Oh, you. Who invited that guy? Okay, so.
It's a joker in every deck.
I know. Well, you're usually the one, Al. I'm just kidding.
Hey, it's better than being the ace of spades.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so I look at this, I look at my perspective. Do you guys remember the time when you were kids and it's like, you want to get your driver's license and it took forever? It's like, oh, another year. Oh, I got to wait. And then now that I'm an old fart, every Christmas, unfortunately, that's a kind of a time mark that the family always gets together. I go, another year? How did that happen? Just boom, just like that. And I'm sure there's a lot of explanations for that, but the perspective is amazing. So now I look back and I go, oh, that 24 years wasn't that much. It just seemed like it like a lifetime before. Now it's just really short. And then I got born again, and you know what? My born again, I'm not saying everybody has a born again experience. Mine was one that lasted about 10, 15 minutes. I'd bawl and my eyes out. And I came before God. Literally, I almost crashed my car on the 57 freeway. Honest to God.
You were driving at the time?
I was driving, yeah. And this is how it happened. Might as well give you my short little version of the testimony. I was helping my Catholic friends to move into the Boys Republic, which is a little, like a miniature prison for young men that are really bad. They were off the 60 freeway and all that. And I remember moving stuff in their place, and there was cat crud all over, cat feces all over the walls, and the carpets were horrible, and they had a nice place before this. And I remember them, at that time I wasn't saved, as I just mentioned, just preaching the word to me, okay? And, later in life, I look back on Catholicism and all that, and then, I have my critique on it, but I'll tell you, Catholics brought me to the Lord.
So you were Catholic before then?
I was actually raised Catholic too, yeah. But I kind of drifted from any faith at all by that time. But then I remember driving down the 57 freeway, and I just kept asking, why? Why would they do this? And then I just realized when God spoke to my heart, almost clear as day, because they love me. And I realized, and at that time, I was right around Cal State Fullerton. You guys know where that stretch is. I just wept because I realized I don't love God. I always say, yeah, I know, I'm a Catholic, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know God. And at that day, I did. And that lasted a short amount of time. And for years after that, I'd be involved in ministry. Patty and I would be, and we'd be teaching the same thing. Okay, God had his purpose. We taught the grace message in the Sunday church. But honestly, I had lunch with this Catholic friend today. I did. I had lunch with Dean. He took me out for my birthday. Oh, I was supposed to say that. But anyway, long story short, what happened was that we went in that typical Sunday church mode. It's like 15, 20 years of, I almost feel like we didn't learn anything. It's the same message over and over again. Greg Laurie, Chuck Smith, Mike McIntosh, John Corson, I can name all of them and what time they came on. And they were edifying to a degree, but you really didn't learn anything new under the sun. And when I met, the Sabbatarian people that actually studied the Old Testament, I realized that this sanctification process has to go into high gear. And so, this is when I put the slide together was September. So I look at this and I go, okay, from the time I got born again to the time, if I live as long as my mom, because we have pretty good genes, I'll probably live to 2044, and look at this, I'm already more than halfway there. And I look at this and I go, what have I done, dear Lord, with the time? You know what I'm saying? At least I was saved, at least I was teaching Sunday school and Sunday church stuff and all that, but I want to do so much better for this last part. I want to do what Paul says, enter that home stretch, give it all I've got for that first prize. Go ahead, Paul.
It's a process, though.
I know that.
You have to go through all the stages.
I know I shouldn't beat myself up, but I kind of like doing that once in a while. Yeah.
You're that Catholic thing where you whip yourself?
I am that way. I do. I beat myself a lot on stuff, but to me, I think it's actually also done me well too, because I don't know. I mean, that family that you saw, all three of our kids, Christian knows them, they're on fire for God. None of them ever went astray. They all knew the Lord. And I have to give that to that fear of the Lord teaching that I took from Calvary, and I made sure that my kids understood the fear of the Lord part, which they weren't teaching at church. It's all hyper grace. Some of them were. Greg Laurie would do it once in a while and stuff, but that fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That's the first thing that I felt I needed to instill in those kids. And they fear the Lord. And when they fear the Lord, they can really know what loving God is. Yeah, you need to fear the Lord first, my opinion. Anyway, so I'm looking at this going, I really feel like all of us should look at our sanctification time from the time that we were saved till the time that you die as this precious. I mean, this is only 12 minutes or whatever. This will turn, one second, Paul. This will turn into this too. Because when we have the eternity with Christ, we're going to look back on our whole life. My whole life is going to look like a sliver. That's what James says. It's but a vapor. So I better make the most out of that sliver. Go ahead, Paul.
What do you mean by fear of the Lord?
I'll be frank with you, okay? And if you disagree, we can talk about it afterwards. But I truly believe that it's a trembling fear. Like when I messed up when I was a kid and I knew my dad was going to find out, I was scared.
So you're saying that God will admonish us, He will?
Absolutely. I'm so afraid of God admonishing me because I know He says, humble yourself so that I don't need to do it for you.
Yeah.
So you will not be humble.
You could be rough.
And when He says, don't fear the one who can kill the body, fear the one who can kill the body and your soul. I look at that and I go, I kind of have to take this life seriously, don't I, Lord? He goes, yeah, because you're representing me. And Moses got in trouble for striking the rock.
Aren't we also in training too? I mean, we're in training to learn, because aren't we to rule and reign with Christ?
Absolutely. Great point. It really is. I mean, when we do these feasts, Patty and I used to ask people here,